on stupid problems and not stupid problems. Stupid problems are uninteresting problems, problems that are not solvable, and not stupid problems are solvable. This is in a nutshell what I spoke about yesterday. I want to continue with this theme and with specifics to decarbonizing energy. This is the Not Even Wrong podcast. It's November 1st, 2020. This is Krim Delko. It's a Sunday, no updates today. I want to talk about the optimism in the beginning of Infinity, the chapter on optimism. And it's in a nutshell what David Deutsch says there is that you have always the ability for progress by finding new explanations. Even if the world is evil, we have the chance that more people that are not evil come up with explanations and therefore outdo the evil people. I'm not sure why he's sure about that, but I assume that he has an underlying assumption that people have an altruistic self-interest to save themselves, and therefore, in a nutshell, if we let progress happen, we will have better outcomes than if we succumb to some sort of centralized planning or lack of progress. And in terms of Tesla, I want to discuss this theme a little bit. So we have the clean tech revolution in the early 2000s, which is Al Gore and people like that come up with this idea of climate change and politicize climate change. Climate change has been around for a while, but they were able to politicize climate change. And it becomes this big deal. It becomes this like, we have to do something about the climate. And even I was taken by it, because when you look at the numbers, you feel, I guess something has to be done, but you're not really sure. Why aren't you really sure? Well, because there is no real explanation. Why is there even a problem? What is the climate change problem? And like I discussed yesterday, climate change is a bad problem. Climate change is a not solvable problem for three reasons. Number one, we don't even know what the problem is. Number two, if we knew what the problem is, I am sure we don't have the knowledge to solve it right now. And number three, there is a lot of money at stake. So it's politically difficult, even if you have a solution, assuming you know what the problem is. So there's all these reasons why climate change is a bad problem. And like I discussed yesterday, I thought, and this is a continuous of that thought, a continuous thinking, that maybe if we subdivide the problem into solvable problems, we can at least attack certain negative side effects of climate change. Or let me rephrase that. So climate change as a problem, we don't know what it is. But there's a side effect of our fossil fuel consumption, which is we use fossil fuels, we dig them out of the ground, and then we burn them. And that feels wrong. There's also side effects in terms of corruption, in terms of crowding out of technology. Because we have a massive oil infrastructure, we're crowding out other solutions. So there's a lot of side effects that are negative. What we don't want, and I completely agree with David Deutsch on that, is we don't want regress. So we don't just want to say, stop it. Don't do it anymore because it's bad. This is not a good solution because typically humanity just doesn't work like that. We haven't evolved as a species to be able to regress. Mao tried to regress scientific revolution, scientific progress with a cultural revolution. I don't know exactly what happened there, but it was a terrible idea. The Nazis, they attacked the Jewish intellectuals in Germany. Again, terrible idea from any kind of aspect, human rights aspect, also from a scientific aspect. And probably they maybe were even attacking certain problems that were real, like we have today. For example, academia was sitting on a pedestal and stifling out thought and intellectual progress in other areas and things like that. So, but by stopping it, by regressing, you're typically regressing, and you're not getting anywhere. You're not advancing. You're not getting anything done. You're not improving life. You're making life worse. So, if we get back to climate change as a not solvable problem, it's a bad problem, it's a not interesting problem, we don't want to be involved in it. A lot of smart people don't want to be involved with it. So we established that point. So what can we do? We can subdivide the problem. And one thing we can do, and we suggested that yesterday, is we can say, well, how about we decarbonize energy? Is that a solvable problem? And looking at our principle stack, so 0 to 1, innovation stack, innovator's dilemma, and of course, the beginning of infinity, going through those principles and the ideas in those 4 books, we come to the conclusion that decarbonizing energy actually is a solvable problem. Solvable using the principles in those 4 books, which is what we really care about at Orange Capital Partners. So we care about the fact that there's a way to do it. There's an engineering solution. There is a secret. There is a monopolistic business that you can build while solving this problem. There is an innovation stack you can build while solving these problems, which is actually how you monopolize your business, because the innovation stack makes it impenetrable for others. It's a very small market. This is 0 to 1 now. It's a small market in the beginning, but it grows through the innovation stack in a massive market. But in the beginning, you're in a small market. You're not attacking $1 trillion energy market like some pundits are talking about with Tesla. You are actually, and now let's talk about this actually. So what is the market that Tesla is really attacking? At big scale, Tesla is decarbonizing energy infrastructure and therefore attacking $1 trillion market at big scale. But now let's look at the actual foot on the ground, the boots on the ground. What is actually going on with Tesla? Well, they started with the Roadster, then we went to Model S, then X, then 3, now Y. So they are decarbonizing the luxury car market by offering intelligent electric cars and soon autonomous electric cars. So this is number one. So this has nothing to do with decarbonizing energy infrastructure. We're not talking about trillions of dollars. ExxonMobil shouldn't really care about a couple $100,000, a couple 100,000 smart electric cars being sold. But of course, this is just the beginning. We have SolarCity acquisition, which turned into a solar business, solar rooftop, auto bidder, batteries, mega packs. These are all relatively small niche markets. For example, Solar Roof is for people with relatively expensive houses, primarily in the Southwest and west of the United States. Still a relatively small market. We're not attacking the whole energy market here. We're just looking at specific niches, mega pack, being used for utilities in California because we have a very volatile energy infrastructure. So again, we're not changing the whole energy infrastructure here. We're selling solutions for specific problems that are existing right now. We're also offering consumers specific choice that is competing with alternatives without any subsidies. And most importantly, people are buying these solutions, the Tesla cars, the mega packs, the batteries, more or less because they are convinced that this is a better solution. Maybe there's a little bit of ideology there, but given the price tags that we're talking about, the ideology is very small. It is really a solution that works. We are owners of a Tesla Model Y. It's a solution that works. It's not ideological in any which way, because it's a solution that works. It's a better car, period. And we don't even have the advanced autonomy that Tesla is already rolling out right now. So what we're talking about here is this ability to penetrate market by market. So sort of like the innovation stack, you could call it your market stack. So the same idea that Jim McKelvey is talking about in his book, The Innovation Stack, where he talks about specific problems which are solved. In this case, it's Square, which is solving small problems, creating new problems, solving those problems. The same way you could think about the market stack, which is kind of you're conquering one little market, and then by conquering that market, you're opening up new markets, and then you're opening up new markets, and you're slowly but surely building a massive market position. So let's use Tesla again. You're conquering the electric sports car market. Then you're conquering the electric sedan market. Then you're conquering the electric SUV and cross SUV market. Then you're conquering the car market for autonomous driving. Then you're conquering the market for supercharging. So you're enabling people not just to drive around in their cities, but drive across the country. You're giving them autonomy. All of a sudden, you've created a new market, which is the market for driving around in the United States with a robot and enjoying yourself and not feeling tired after 8 hours of driving. These are all new markets that when you started with the Roadster, of course, you weren't thinking about it, but now you're penetrating those markets, creating those new markets, and the competition, they don't even know what they're competing anymore. Like, you're way ahead of the competition. Here's another example of a 0 to 1 concept, which is very powerful in the context of Tesla, and how Tesla is conquering a very large market by thinking small. This is a key concept of 0 to 1. If you want to change the energy infrastructure, think small. What is happening here? We have a battery technology which starts relatively small. Again, it starts with solving the battery problem for Roadster, Model S, Model X, Model Y, etc. That works for 10 years. By the time the competition picks up on that and starts building the same type of batteries with the same modular technology, the same battery management software, pretty much everybody's copying Tesla. And what do? 2020, they come up with a new battery technology. They completely change the stack. So this is a concept of 0 to 1, which is called be the last mover. And I always thought that this is a bad thing. Why should you be the last mover? If you're really changing the world, if you're building something massive, you're not going to be the last mover. You're going to be around for a long time. So what it really means, and maybe that's what Peter Thiel actually means, it just means that you always make the last move until you kill everybody and then start from scratch with something new. This is a little bit also in line with what Amazon has been doing. But let's get back to Tesla. So you have this, let's start, go back to 2008. We have a car market. We have, BMW, Audi, all these guys competing for cars. Then we have a new entrant called the electric luxury car, and Tesla builds battery technology for that particular market. They conquer that market. The competition picks up, starts building the same type of batteries, same types of cars, a little bit less efficient, but pretty much the same thing. BMW, Audi, Volkswagen, the Chinese, everybody starts doing that. Tesla answers by coming up with a completely new battery stack, entering new markets now, not just the car market, but also entering the storage market, the utility market, and so on and so forth. First of all, they kill the car industry. I think the battery day was the beginning of the end for the traditional car industry, because now they have to re-establish themselves. It's going to take another 5 years for them just to catch up with Tesla. It's almost impossible to conceive any kind of survival for the traditional car manufacturers. Maybe there's a niche player here and there, like Lucid or something, but overall, this is the idea of the last mover. You're the last mover before that market, the traditional market, the legacy market that you attack is finished. But you are still around and you're opening up new avenues. And the next last mover, the next last mover move might be maybe in 5 to 10 years when they make a move and then get rid of utilities or something like that. But this is a conjecture. So to summarize, we think that the idea of conquering a large market and being optimistic about it is not a bad thing. It's consistent with 0 to 1, but it has to start with small. You have to start small, conquer, and build what we call the market stack. So analogous to the innovation stack, you need to build a market stack. Solve a problem, create new problems, solve a problem. Same thing. Conquer a market, create new markets, conquer them. Create new markets, conquer them. This is the flywheel that takes you to not just a large market cap, which is important for us, but also helps you achieve those massive goals and the large impact that you as an entrepreneur might have, and of course we as investors have in our mission statement. Thank you.